Mm.
Right, it's got the recording button up. Okie dokie. And since we've just had a quick social chat before, Gabrielle's got a mouthful of ice cream. I reckon it'd be really cool, because she was wanting to chat tonight, to see where you're at.
Mm. When I was prepared for this, I bought a bowl in so I could put my ice cream.
There we go. Well played. Well played.
So I the reason I said, oh, let's have a chat was because I took Paddy to the dentist last week.
Yep.
And he went to the specialist up in the city. And just for everyone's background who don't know, some of you do know, he's got a couple of holes in his teeth. And so my local dentist recommended we go to someone who specialises in children. So we went there, and she basically gave me the same recommendation as the other dentist did. And I was very conscious, Ali, of, and it's funny because I nearly rang you before I went, but I was very conscious of what you'd said to me about. So basically the recommendation was that because he's so young, that they put them under a general anaesthetic and they do it all at once, as opposed to the other option would be to give him a local injection, go twice, and have the teeth done at separate times. And they just said because he's about to turn 4, their experience is that it's very hard for someone that age to be able to hold the mouth open, to be okay with the injection and the whole process of having all the instruments in their mouth. And I remember when I first mentioned it to Ali, and I don't even know if it was on a Zoom call. I don't know where we were. I know you were there, Cara, but I can't remember where we were.
Yeah, we were
anyway.
at your house.
Oh, you're at my house.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And I remember you saying to me, Ali, like I knew straight away all my experiences of going to the dentist came in, and I was like, oh my God, there's no way he could endure, 2 separate injections and 2 visits, and I've been conscious of my story and my experience, and I suppose when I went in and she gave me the same advice, and I was like, oh, and I was just, and I said to her, is it possible just to have the 2 visits? And she's like, well, you can do that, but there's so many things that can disrupt the process that we recommend the general. And and I was like, I suppose I wanted to get myself out of the way as we go in to make a decision about what we're going to do for him. And and that's why I wanted to have a chat, because I'm, I was conscious of my stuff and trying to pull back. And I was saying to Cara the other day, I'm so aware of, like, I can't imagine who the first kid was that they decided on the general anaesthetic process and going down that way. But obviously, for whatever reason, that became the norm. And, I could see this dentist was so fixed in that, based on her experiences and whatever. But yeah, I wanted to have a chat before we made a decision on it. So
first and foremost, what's simple, easy?
Oh. Booking me for a general anaesthetic.
I think for me personally, the issue is your connection to him actually going through this whole process with teeth. There's something deeper in that.
Yeah.
More than anything else. The process is simple, easy. It's not rocket science. Obviously, it's a personal choice, and that's yours and Fergal's and
yes.
I just think that reactive-wise, there's more in it for you. It's got, I own that.
Yeah, you're completely spot on. You know what? When I took him to the dentist, it's funny because I've had so many problems with my own teeth. And then, when I mentioned it to my mum, she got plugged straight into all her stuff. And, I was so conscious of my journey with teeth that I was like, I immediately was really diligent. I'm like, Fergal, we have to make sure we brush his teeth properly and rah, rah, rah. And I remember about a year ago, someone putting in a post of a boy who I was in mother's group with, who was in having the general anaesthetic and they had holes in his teeth. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want that to be Paddy. I know this happened. I was like, oh shit. And I was like, look what I've created. Exactly what I didn't want, which is always the way. But yeah.
So did you get to the core of your own issue? Because it's obviously taking teeth out of the way.
I hadn't even gone there.
Oh no, it's a good distractor.
Okay, if I take
do you want to sit with it and eat your ice cream? Or have you got something recent?
The most, well, I'm happy to go either way.
No, go for it if it's fresh. Yeah. You can drink your ice cream.
Yeah. I'll pop it back in the freezer. Yeah, I feel like there's a fear there.
Yeah.
Of not having control.
Yeah.
Fuck. Just, something new.
Also, attachment, children, protection, all that sort of shit. As a underlying, but we've got to look at that as an external stimulant to our being, because really being human and hang on, I'll just let being human, I'll let Vanessa in the room. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah, sorry, go Gabrielle.
No, you're right.
We're just going to finish off talking with Gabrielle about dentistry, and now we're getting to the nitty gritty. You'll catch up.
You've come in at the right time.
Yeah, she's eating choc tots. Great. But we've stopped her. So if you went to the fear-based trigger, so look, honestly, as I was saying, our attachment to our children are an external stimulant that feeds back to us with our whole human, how attached we are to the human experience. So if you can take it from your children and then just sink it back into you to recognize your own, where does that go for you?
It makes me think of that conversation train we had the other day on Facebook with Vanessa and my whole attachment to the human experience. Just funny, she just entered the room.
Yeah. Perfect timing.
Yeah. Oh, I can really feel it. I really feel it.
If you could name it, what is it?
The initial emotion is sadness.
Yeah, I think you ventured down off a story. I like to name something is pretty hard when it's really indescribable. It is the connection to understanding the experience.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my phone just beeped, so I'd say that's pretty on point. So it's the connection. So you've come in for this experience, right? Then you have then you've had a whole lot of attachments to it. Got it? You got it now, eh? No? Yes. I'm gathering that's a good yes. Yeah. Yeah. No tissue supplied tonight, sorry.
No, it's all right, I've got some here.
And that's good. Good. Yeah, that's exactly the box I got home. So human doing human, this is relevant, totally relevant. Take away the teeth, take away the children, bring it back to us. That's exactly what humanity is going through at this point in time. So I think it's just if we bring it back to the simplicity in that we have an attachment to ourself, and once we have an attachment in our being, there's multitudes of avenues that contribute to like pulling us. Do you know what I mean? And so then we just become players in the game instead of being the experience. And that's that, yes. And of course, feelings are an emotion. Feelings and emotions are to be experienced. But then, do we get attached to that? So it's sitting way back. It's sitting behind you. So it's right back to nothing, like I said. So look at your connection to being born into this experience, and then how attached are you to it? And then it just plays out in every field, doesn't it? So if we can take yours for example, there's you, there's your experience, then there's Patty, then Patty's experience of a dentist. There's a whole lot of triggers in those things, but they're all external. They're all further out from the point of you manifesting yourself and having this fun journey.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Where does it sit? As in, so now if you're talking about Patty and teeth, where are we sitting in feelings, emotions and stuff now with all that knowledge?
Yeah, I feel like it's got nothing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
I feel like it's got nothing to do with that. I feel like I still feel a bit, there's some still, like, I don't know, feeling around the whole, yeah, like even mentioning the word experience, it's like, oh, there's still something there about, like, as soon as you said the human experience,
Yep.
I felt the emotion.
Yep.
Yeah. So
what eyes if you were to describe this human experience for you, because it's all personified. Yeah. Can you give it a story? As much as I like to take stories away.
Oh, I don't even know. I don't know if I can put words to it.
Give a feeling?
A feeling.
Yeah, so you're searching. And that's the key. So that's the key of understanding. Once we're attached to our experience, we start searching.
Yes, okay. Well, I'm definitely attached.
Mm-hmm. So once we're detached from the experience, it just happens. It's not to say we get triggered and stuff, but we realised how attached we are, and we realise how we're playing into it. And I think that's just I think if we spin this around for everybody to revisit their own, and I know what's going to happen is because somebody's going to feel something and it's all going to kind of fine, but if you could just personify your own space into what Gabrielle shared, and then admittingly you've caught half of it Vanessa, but obviously you'll catch, we'll do you last sort of thing. We'll just spin around and reflect on something that may be triggering similar, or add to what has been discussed, give your own perspective, because there's all multitudes of perspectives. But I think it's a really valid point, especially right here, right now in 2020. So maybe look at it from attachment to being human, attachment to self, attachment to the external stimulants, attachment to children, if you've got children, attachment to fear and what's going on around the world, attachment to, just whatever is the first thing that comes to mind. Let's just go on a whim and see where we're all sitting, because I think it's a pretty good discussion. You've got yours ready to go with your racing car driver, Rochelle.
Well, yes. I feel triggered.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
good.
Quite close to home.
Awesome.
Yeah. I guess more for like a share, but such a similar experience. Leo had to go under general anesthetic really young and have several teeth pulled out and major cavity stuff. And similar sort of like with his eczema, like Leo hadn't tasted sugar for like the first 3 years of his life. And, like his diet was amazing and that kind of stuff. It was just like, how had this happened? And I knew it was a huge trigger for me because I had massive issues about dental stuff in my childhood. And totally all of that, like just feeling like I wasn't being able to make the choices that were going on with my body, and feeling intuitively that like some of it wasn't right, or whatever created those experiences. But yeah, I watched it play out as I had kids as well. And then Harvey, when he was young, I went to the dentist, like some of his back molars didn't have the coating on it, which they say happens if they get like a fever when they're like 6 months old. So he had to have his 2 back molars like immediately capped because they just wouldn't last. But yeah, over the years, I've been working through a lot of dental stuff, and I found it really curious that like now I'm getting to a point where I can take the kids to a dentist that I really love and feel safe at. And the last 2 fillings that I've had have been the best of my life, and I've just walked out of there super grateful. But it's been quite a journey, like, you know, going and getting fillings and being in a safe place and remembering how unsafe I had felt when I was younger and these things were happening. And yeah, but just owning it and knowing that what was playing out with my children was what was still playing for me. And as I unpacked it, like all the situations kind of improved.
Yeah. So from just to spin it, so yeah, unsafe, safe space played out through the dentist experience. That's what you're kind of, I'm just kind of summarizing it. And as you evolved in yourself, those experiences got better. And I mean, it's only for those that are watching and trying to understand, because we just take it for granted. I get you, and
No. I love your spin.
So, I'm curious if you were to look at life, and what would be a vulnerable attachment if you've got any?
Can you explain that? A vulnerable attachment? Something I'm
like life
children?
Experience, yeah.
Like the most precious thing? What?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, your partner?
Yeah. So again, it's like, so what I think that's breaking down to the fine tuning of where we start. That, you know, we've actually owned ourselves, and then we start owning all these other aspects around us. Do you know what I mean? And
of course we do. They define us.
Yeah, which they don't, but they, you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
I'm joking. Well, they can. No, I get it. I mean, the reflective value is probably important, but I'm curious that how many of us are, you know, if we seriously look at, to make Gabrielle enjoy ice cream so much better, we've all got this. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's just with an awareness how much it controls the outcomes. From a fear love based scenario, and creates what the chaos we tend to go through. And I mean, obviously the more detached you are, the less chaos amongst chaos, because it can all happen and you're going, okay, I'll eat an ice cream, you know, like shit, it's okay, you know.
It's okay.
So yeah. Cara, so did you have something else to say?
Not much, just when you were speaking that brought it up for me. When I was going through all that, I was realizing I was storing fear in my teeth. And when I started working through the fear, that's when things had shifted for me. Yeah,
that's what I felt too. Yeah, awesome. Cara.
What stood out for me is when you said about the attachment to fear.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I'm playing.
Yeah. So what's a fearful thing? Oh, you can spin a story if you've got a story.
Probably can think of a few, but like there's, I guess, so part of me wants to know like what's coming so I can prepare myself. And so there's that. And then I think tied into that is about something to do with like having a baby at some point, and some fear around missing out on that. Because
okay.
And its connection to that with everything that's going on at the moment.
So how does COVID play for you?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not worried about that. I don't even know what it is. I mean, I'm not, I don't know.
There's no wrong or right. Just ramble.
How does it play?
Yeah. How does it play for you?
I'm not scared of the virus, if that's.
Okay. So that's an aspect of it. So what's the other aspect that could be triggering you?
Like
Don't control what you're going to say. Allow it to spit out.
Ooh, like what I feel is going on underneath the surface stuff scares me.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
And I have some fear, something around feeling that.
So I think that's actually related to your control.
Yeah.
Because you actually got no control over it, which is the gift of COVID, really, because at the end of the day, we're all playing this game. And as it is what it is to anybody, it's going to trigger our attachments to being human or having this experience, our attachments to self. So for you, you've already said you kicked on like control, and I don't know, there's with children and having children, what does that mean to you personally? And look, honestly, it's a temperamental subject, I gather that, but I think it would be valuable if you could just open that little doorway to see what attachment you have to having children is.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Yeah, it's funny because like it goes back to being a little girl and getting my first dolly in a pram and buying real nappies when as soon as I got pocket money, you know, and like I don't know what it is. There's just something that
I read that this morning.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't pick it up. I'll try and find it for you. I literally read that story this morning on someone's post about when they had, because I was like, I never had a doll, I had fucking trucks. Like, I couldn't connect with this story, but that's your story. That's exactly what this person was saying is, you know, the nurturing and the loving and that they're getting that. So here's but you can't. Oh, that's what the difference was too. You can't. When it comes real, you can't just stick it in the corner. It's going to be quiet. You know, it's actually, you know, those sort of things. But that same exactly what you said, the nurturing and the dolly thing was definitely on there. I'm the attachment to feeling loved.
Yeah.
How's that feel? It's and I know you're well loved. It's just you personally that may think different, that would create that.
It's like I feel like I wouldn't have fulfilled my purpose unless I have a child.
I like that. That's the vulnerable honesty. And where did that belief come from? Where did you formulate that belief? Because really, there's an attachment to the experience is to actually have children.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's an attachment to human life. So you've got an attachment to yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're breaking down the fragments.
Yeah.
For all is just an experience, yet once we get a hook, line and sinker, you know, it's like this chat. I love this sort of chat. This is like, yeah, that's my attachment. You know, and so those sort of things. That makes sense?
Yeah. 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 Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's so funny. I could feel, you can feel the shifts. I don't know, can you feel the shifts in them from when you start talking to by the time they get to a point of a realization? It just goes so lighter. Yeah, and I think that will help you in future, whatever endeavours, what unfolds and whatever plays out. It's just kind of cleaning up the attachment.
Yeah, yeah.
And just being okay no matter what way it plays.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Because there's so many amazing things to be experiencing just through us becoming ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, dude.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. Yeah.
Right now, you two sitting on my right hand side. Which one wants to go first?
Vanessa can go first. just say.
Okay, perfect. Go.
I
I missed the start of the conversation, so I'm not, if I'm on the wrong track, just let me know.
No, there's no wrong track.
Yeah. I guess what COVID's shown for me is my attachment to financial security and my business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been a big play for me over the past few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Knowing how brilliant it's playing for you at the moment and the abundant flow through COVID, everyone loves ice cream. So obviously you've definitely moved stuff. So if I took it away from COVID, we take it away from the COVID story. If you look at life and if you look at self, what would be triggers of attachment that you may recognise?
Sorry, can you ask me that question again? If I took it,
God knows what I was just said. Okay, so if you could recognise triggers of attachment to, like, so when you formulate outside of self and you start and something's starting to control the playground or feeling that space, or having attachment. So what do you recognise with your finances? Can you recognise that in other areas?
No, not that's coming up.
Okay, I just got given one because you messaged me a few times. What's a repetitive circle? What's your attachment to the repetitive circle that you continue to play with me?
You don't forget anything, do you?
Oh, I don't remember much either, but it just comes when I need it. Yeah.
The need to know.
Yeah. So there's your attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to show, that when we get attached to being human in the experience, it's coming through many formulas, and it starts here, but it gets further out in the field. But it starts once we become attached to this experience.
Mm-hmm.
So for Vanessa may share her stuff for me is very cyclic, it's very repetitive, but it comes in multitudes of ways. And most times she'll say, I'm only after a yes or no. And I'm going, well, is there a yes or no? You're like, Jesus, you're asking someone who just likes questioning everything. And so my thing is now is that we've got to the point now that we understand she has an attachment for the need to know. So it'd be great in letting that even space. But like I said, as we become aware, we can then make choices.
Mm.
I think that's a really good one, and it's a hidden one. Do you know what I mean? It's not like a child, or it's not like something like teeth or whatever, or whatever anyone's going through. It's almost like layers between layers between layers between layers, and it's right down to, that attachment to need to know, and then it'll come out in that next pocket of whatever that experience is, and then it'll come out in that next pocket, and then it'll come out in your finances.
Yeah. Because it's a need to know that I'm safe.
Oh, there's another one, the attachment to safety. So interesting, a couple of you, Rochelle used that earlier on as well. So my question, and to anybody that's listening, would be, where do we not feel safe? And where's that fear coming from? And if we're not even, if we're trusting this whole experience just to be whatever, there's an attachment to that space of, oh my God, I've got to do this to keep safe, or whatever, those sort of things. Because the only fear we create is our own, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Nice, I like that one, thanks. Cindy.
Hey, so mine's definitely, there was a lot of talk of fear, and I, within the last few days, I've kind of realised that because I've lived in fear for such a long time, I was I feel like I was afraid to make decisions because I might hurt someone. And one, I'm doing myself injustice, but I'm doing everybody else an injustice as well. Where was that going?
I love this. You're my gem of the night.
So, fuck, I don't even know where that was. So,
Just go where you go. Don't just keep rambling. It'll come.
okay. I don't know.
No, I know you need to go into emotion. That's why. The words are gone. No, go into emotion. Just feel it. Let that move, because that emotion's needing to be released.
I actually don't know.
It's so good. That's okay. There's no pressure. I want to read something while you sit there, because I got this just before we came on, and it's just a post of some ramble. But how do I avoid a pandemic? The question was asked to Osho about 40 years ago during the AIDS period, and the information he shares is still relevant today as we go through another pandemic. You're asking the wrong question, Osho replied. The right question should be, how to avoid the fear of dying caused by the epidemic or the pandemic. Because it is very easy to avoid the virus. It is very difficult to avoid the fear in you and in the world. People will die more from this fear than from the epidemic. There is no virus in this world more dangerous than fear. Understand this fear, otherwise you will become a dead body before your body dies. It has nothing to do with the virus. The scary atmosphere you feel in these moments is collective madness, which we all play in. It has happened 1,000 times and will continue to happen. And it will continue if you don't understand the psychology of crowds and fear. You usually keep your fear at bay, but in the moment of collective madness, your consciousness can be completely lost. You won't even know when you've lost control of your fear. And fear can make you do anything. In such a situation, you can also take your own life or lives of others. So much will happen in the coming times. Many people will kill themselves and many people will kill more. Attention, be mindful. Don't watch news that trigger fear. Stop talking about the epidemic. Repeating the same thing over and over again is like self-hypnosis. Fear is a kind of self-hypnosis. The idea will chemically change your body. If you repeat the same idea over and over, a chemical change is triggered that can sometimes be so toxic it can kill you. During an epidemic, energy around the world becomes irrational. This way you can fall into a black hole anytime. Meditation then becomes a protective aura in which no negative energy can penetrate, and that's Osho. Not that I agree with every single bit in that, but there's some really good value in recognizing the external stimulant and then bringing it back to the reflective space of fear and how we think in our mind. And it doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have to be viruses like what Cara said. It's the underlying things that are triggered. And but that came through just before I came on, and I kind of I've shared it on my page because I think it's pretty relevant for a lot. I'm not so much, obviously you know me, I'm not so much meditation then becomes a protective aura, because once we acknowledge fear, there's a bit of, when we acknowledge fear, we get more of fear. So it's kind of catching that, and it's where we're playing from. Okay, you're going to read it from where you're playing from. You're going to see it from where you're playing from.
Cool.
If that's any well, I don't know if it's help, but you know, it's just a different way of perceiving what fear does.
Oh yeah, so I remembered where I was. So I realized that, so because I was so fearful of whatever, I've actually never given myself the opportunity to look at what I actually wanted for myself. And therefore, this need to know kind of comes into play. So I need to know before I can step into it, because I'm not sure if I want it, because I haven't given myself that opportunity to know what I want or listen to myself. Like I had an experience recently, and I had all these like signs, don't go there, this is too soon or whatever. And I just kept going forward. And of course it didn't work out. I was like, you know what? I am fine. And I know I'm fine. I just don't trust myself. And I don't give myself the opportunity to trust myself. And in that playing out, I've actually gone to clairvoyance recently and walked away going, why did I do that? I already knew that. But it was just such a clear picture of me going, I need to know, and I want somebody else. So I'm looking to the external to say that I'm going to be okay.
I want to go to the safety factor where, because that's the whole thing I keep getting is at the same playground as what we've discussed a little bit earlier, is another trigger on safety. Where do you sit, trusting life,
Well, I feel like there's a few things, and it might be quite like Vanessa. If I feel like I've got money coming in and I've got a house, I'm safe. Those two things make me feel safe in my mind. So,
yep.
So it just plays out on those two.
Yeah, and my thing is get yourself in a good space in every area, then it's across the board. Reflectively, house and money is a everyone's probably lifetime of this, I feel okay. But the reality is it's only going to reflect where you're at. If it's and if it's out of balance, it'll come in some other arena in relationships.
Oh, that's
So we're doing. I'd also like to go back just as digging up some little chords and interesting points. I'm kind of curious about the conversations you had about, I got all these signs. So I think what I just want to bring to your awareness, and I could be completely wrong, but this is how I'm feeling. I think you run a program that kind of goes obviously looking for that, where it's not going to be work and it's going to be hard, it's not going to be successful, it's going to, there's going to be an issue, and then it starts creating these scenarios, and then you're going to see those signs match that vibration. So you've got to be aware of the program that you're running, because I'm not saying don't trust intuition, but intuition can only run from a function of where you're truly vibrating at. The messages are as clear as mud. It's a bit like us with our Victoria COVID space. Like the lines of what we can and can't do and who and what we can't, are so grey and it's not clear. It's the same messages in your brain. It's you're feeding. So it's just coming into awareness of you've got how many years of a way of playing the story. And that's that will run automatically. Sorry, go.
Can I give this story? And I think I need a little bit of feedback. So I was meant to go out on a date, and something came, and it was like it was happening really quickly, and I was like, oh, this is happening too fast. I fell over and I hurt my knee, and it turned out that it was broken. And I kept I'd try to make it happen, and there was like a lot of second force, like it was pushing back. So going out to dinner was quite hard, or doing this was
I want to challenge you on that. Not challenge you, but I want to take it a different way.
No, I'm totally happy, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Clearly, I've created it.
Oh, absolutely. We all manifest our brilliance. But look, honestly, the date itself and the first trigger and this is what I'm saying, we get further and further and further out. So the first trigger that shows up is it was happening really quickly.
Mm.
And so there's your no control, and there's your no safety, which are huge vibrators in your frequency, which have automatically trained your brain to think, right, woof, 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 woof.
Yeah, perfect.
But if they weren't running, then the blockages, and so I'm just curious now. I just want to look up knee in the book. Did you do that by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay, so the 65, sorry. I'm just curious because to take out your knees, it's like, dude, that's pretty cool. Yep, go.
Yeah, it's something about moving forward, fear, yeah.
Okay, can I read this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got knees from the Inner Seagulls book.
Because I ended up baking, because I know there's left and right, and I think I broke the left first and then the right. So I did it separately.
But you've done both.
Yeah.
Radio.
Excellent work.
well, it's moving through. Like, you've definitely moved through. You're moving through shit. I look, honestly, which is the first thing I wrote down? Control. Control's the first word underneath.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So control, blame, judgment, anger, frustration, inflexibility. Inflexibility is also quickly. It's going too quickly, and it's being vulnerable to the chaos. When you're not vulnerable, it's controlling and it's making it safe and it's doing its thing. So that's your inflexibility. Feeling stuck, difficulty in dealing with a person. Look, honestly, we know that's not all of these. This is just aspects of difficulty in dealing with a person, issue, or situation from past, confusion, frozen desires and unfulfilled dreams, unresolved family issues. Yeah, there'd be something in there. I can feel that. Difficulty making decisions and keeping commitments, fear of moving forward, a great need to know what will happen next.
Yeah. Like it's all. I mean, there's a lot there that.
I'm not even going to go into the right and left knee. There's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But I just think it's. I think that's the thing. I think recognizing that you're programmed, that you are running, even though you think you're conscious, and this is the whole thing. We think we're so conscious, but each, as like Vanessa and we were chatting, each time you go through, there's layers of every experience, but it's all the same. It's just I don't think. I just want to bring to awareness that we as humans are so convinced in the system that we're running that we can't see with clear eyes. Yep,
that's so good. I love it.
Yeah. And now it's an awareness is good. And how do you do it? It's just being aware of how you're reacting. Like, okay, this is happening too fast, and then you go, is it okay to be too fast? Shit, I might jump on this fast train. Let's see what happens. It could be the perfect thing, but you're gonna every time you're gonna send a message saying this is happening. I don't know, and then you're gonna, and then all those things are gonna create block after block after block. But I'm not saying deny the intuition and feeling. I'm saying identify how authentically vulnerable it's running at its highest frequency.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. I feel so different now. What a shift. I feel really calm.
I'm liking it.
Thank you.
No. Good. Okay, so let's just kick into anything anyone's got to say, because I've kind of done that, but I'd like to go into anyone's personal whatever, or if they've got feedback, or if anyone wants to ramble. Don't all speak at once.
What came up for me just then is my recent experience around authentic vulnerability, and I'm just noticing more and more how much that just creates magic around stuff, and how quickly stuff moves when you actually in that space. I've been reminded of that so much the last couple of weeks.
I'm just clicking out again.
I'm just showing up.
No, that was just I got most of it, so I'm sure I could, when I listen to it, I'll hear it again. But authentic vulnerability is the trigger. Rochelle?
Yeah, just on that, I've been today I was watching things play out, and it was about being authentically vulnerable with myself and what I really wanted, and how I wasn't creating it because I was, you know, holding a feeling of lack or insecurity. But yeah, just watching that, like sometimes I need to be more honest with myself. I think I am pretty honest with myself, but yeah, there's always layers and layers when you keep looking in and peeling it back, you know. Especially with all the unpacking of what a human should look like and feel like.
Oh my god! Oh shit! Okay, that made me choke.
It sure did.
Does that
pee, but oh wait.
Is that a signal for what? Holy shit, that was a big one.
Wow, it just slipped out there.
Yeah, what a human should be or shouldn't be. Yeah, like shit, real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a concept, isn't it?
Exactly.
There's something that triggered me in reflection with your first bit. The authentic vulnerability, and I think you know, like you say, you're pretty. Oh my god, I attracted this, whatever. But my thing, I think I want to share from that is that, are we truly living it in every moment, or do we turn it on for this moment and turn it off for this moment and turn it on for this moment? That is what I want to recognise in the human experience. I'll turn up here and I'll just, you know, strip off naked. But over here, I'm going to put on a few layers and a mask, you know?
Yeah, it's exactly that.
And I think, once people recognise that those two are the same, the flow is so much smoother, easier, and, you know, a lot more less effort. Nice. Just all changed around.
Yeah, that happened on my screen too.
I was like, now where are we going?
I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah. You can get rid of that human thing. Yeah. God. That's a biggie. That's a biggie. Like, fuck, is there a way? You go toilet. Yeah, so what about Kara? You've shifted up to the right now. Going from the left to the right. You're well balanced. Actually, you're all balanced. Yeah. Yep.
Just trying to think if I have anything to say. That just what you said about, are we showing up the same? I definitely don't. Like, I'm just thinking of my family, for example, how I am with them a bit.
So do you want to go there? So can you recognise why you're choosing to play differently?
I'm scared. It's something to do with, I'm scared that my family will see me as different.
Yep.
That's
so funny. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop you there because I've written somewhere in your first chat something about self-acceptance, worthiness and stuff, and that's what comes back to that point playing out there. And I got that in the other point when we're talking even children, even virus stuff. So those two things are, so what happens if you turn up as you?
What happens?
Yeah. Tell me you've done it. Have you?
Yeah.
Excitement. Yeah. What happens when you turn up as you?
Well, usually it's fine.
Yeah, so who's got the issue?
Yeah.
So it comes down to where I choked on fresh air before, when Rochelle said, is there a way that we're meant to be doing human, you know, or whatever, however she put it, because it was perfect words, because it really did make me choke. And that's the thing, when we start it, you know, that family will love you for who you are. They will play back to you how you are. Do you know what I mean? If you're worried about it, they're going to show you it. And if it doesn't resonate, And to me, it's like that growing opportunity. You share it. It's like when I brought it to my family, a different way of seeing life. Yeah, they probably got sick of hearing the way I would, you know, oh, you could do this or you could do that or whatever. But they come high. The more I could accept me, I saw that shift. Do you know what I mean? Like they were my mirror.
Yeah. It reminds me of what you were saying ages ago in a message to me with when the masks thing came out, and you reflected that, yeah, I had something about worrying about what the other person thought of me, whether or not I was wearing a mask. And I think there's something in that feels similar to me. Maybe
that's a really good one, because I visited, like, I suppose I could, you know, because in respect to people, absolutely, you know, I can play the game. I had to look at where did I sit with this, honestly. I haven't got a mask. Murray's got masks, obviously, for work and for very entertainment purposes. I just wear my scarf. Like the lady goes, I recognise that scarf, and I went, oh yes, I do take it off to wash it occasionally. And then I thought, do I? Do I? Like, you know, all how many outings? You only meant to go once, aren't you? So whatever, for my coffee, let alone my shopping. But you know, I had to, yeah, and I'm noticing because it's very loose, and when I go for a walk, because we go down a nice country road, so we're pretty lucky here. I have a scarf here. If somebody comes up, I'll make an effort.
Yeah.
Out of respect to them. Really, I have no attachment to, and I've noticed a few of us have actually walked past and we're on opposite sides of the street sort of thing, but nobody puts it up and I think that kind of comes down. I went into the bank today, of course, and they're very strict. And she had a story. She actually could have come tonight. That would have probably helped. But it was, and I just said to her, you know, if you're looking, it depends how you're looking at it. If you're looking at it from a non-physical and a conscious perspective, you'd understand other people living a different way. There's just multitudes of ways to live this. And it's like I get to the basics. Just enjoy your coffee, you know, like I keep saying, or the ice cream. And, you know, we trust that our state of being here is the next moment that formulates. So if we're going to get pissed off or worried or fearful, we're adding all that energy into those next moments for it to continue to play and grow at the density of how many people are playing that way. So my thing is like, I'm probably lucky we've lived quietly, because really I went out for coffee and groceries, that's about it, you know, like, or caught up with you guys. But it's not I'm not in the midst of where people have got kids going to school and got all those other dramas. And I think that's just, did I not attract that at this particular moment? I could be in Queensland, you know, so it's still having the best experience through whatever's going on, but recognizing that every reaction is formulating for me on a consciousness level to the next moment. So clearing, this is the gift of COVID, clearing that for the new space. And that's whatever anybody believes going on, you know. I just trust that it all cleans up and does its own thing, and because I'm in a good place. So if I'm in a good place, then that next moment's going to be in a good place. Yeah. I've just, I think we lost Rochelle, did we? But anyway, oh shit, let's make sure she hasn't come back in. Okay, right. So masks include, yeah, that stuff. So where your energy sitting? So where's your energy sitting now with that?
I feel much better about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel all right about that now. Yeah.
And adapting with awareness, recognizing how we're playing, or is there any fear-based effort? So like for me, it's almost when I'm pulling up to people. I'm really aware of the misalignment of being and doing. Do you know what I mean? Like for me, it's like, this is how would I choose to be continually, is absolutely don't feel I need to wear it. So then I'm putting on this mask to, well, not mask, I pull up this. So I'm adding that energy into it. And I was recognizing, and of course you don't want to go down that because you make more shit, but it just as an observing space of energy. I'm like, okay, let's, where am I sitting now? And it's feeling like brilliant because of the weather. You put on a scarf anyway. It's not for me. And it's just like, okay, well, I'll just lift it up. Lift it up. So actually, it's almost kind of a nothing apart from going to get coffee, and I have to put the glasses up, sort of thing. And then it's kind of like, okay, would I like respect in the world? I'll respect another, play the game. But is that, it's just, I think there's nothing behind any feeling of it anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's getting to a place where, but it did trigger those little things in the beginning. So I got to that, okay, where am I sitting? How am I, you know, and it's like, oh, just play the game. You want a coffee, enjoy the game. A coffee, like, dude.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one that sits in the car and drinks their coffee at a cafe, because they all seem to pick it up and go. But, and I'm not, you know, I can be out for like an hour to do that. But anyway, yeah. So I was kind of like, and I think you've just got to remember that, you know, if this is a playground, and if this is energy going, this energy creates that next moment, what are we contributing to? And again, without any thinking, it's happening naturally. And that's why I think it's being aware how that authentic vulnerability, reactive, all those things, once we can line those up, like if you want to look at it as subconsciously, consciously, higher consciousness, and they're all kind of filtered in the same boat, there's no effort in being. Do you know what I mean? It's just, yeah, it's all just functioning at the same thing. And therefore, it's like Murray attracting the police to, you know, check his work stuff today. And it was kind of like, it didn't surprise me because he's obviously got that in the back of mind. But of course, it was all sweet and, you know, all, you know, legit and all that sort of stuff. And they had a laugh and a chat and a, you know, whatever. But it's not even attracting that into, you know, like I think Rochelle said earlier, attracting somebody into her at the beach, you know, and she recognised that, God, I attracted them in my playfield. And then we're talking about how much time we spend playing here and how much time we spend playing there. That's the reflective value. Hey, like that, those two playgrounds. I'm totally vulnerable here. I'm not so vulnerable here. And the misalignment of frequency can be so minuscule, you know, it's so tiny that then somebody will turn up the beach and go, and she could be totally in the right frame eating something, having your mask down, and she go, oh, you should have, not, why are you not wearing a mask? You know? Yeah. And she's going, oh, and then she's thinking, well, I am eating, like, you know. So those things make that thing. And I think that's the key of recognising that. It's just like all those little fragments of frequency that are just floating around. Vanessa.
I'm listening to the whole mask play and thinking about my experience the other day with the tradies. So I had a day the other day, I think I've moved on from there, where I kept on walking past tradies who weren't wearing masks, and I was just getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And in the end, I did walk past two tradies on my road. So there's a building site next door, and they were both out at the car on the road talking to each other, right next to each other without masks. And I did walk past and go, oh, are tradies exempt from wearing masks?
Sarcasm.
So I did need to have a bit of a look at that, if that was really where I wanted to play.
I replied to her message. Did he give you the middle finger and say, have a lovely day? Murray thought, oh my God, we were sitting there laughing and, you know, but, you know, so understanding, yeah, those things, that's what presents us. It's those little irritable things are where we're not this. You know, where we're not aligned.
Can I ask a question about that? Because I think there's a lot of fear in a cumulative kind of bigger energy.
Yeah.
So I know I've got my fear, and I can see it being triggered if I see sometimes if somebody comes too close or whatever. Other times I'll be totally fine. So I'm curious is it a possibility that sometimes it's our own fear, and I suppose we're all it, aren't we, actually? I just answered my own question, thank you. And it made no sense whatsoever.
That's it. But that's it. It doesn't make sense, but you get it.
Yeah.
You get it. And that's the whole thing. Everything is a reflective value of how we're playing the game. And everything is an attachment to the experience of being human, doing human, our attachment to self. Then we have the chaos of a manifested virus, which we've all created this moment to this point, and we are that. Then we're all having our own different reactions. We're getting further and further and further away from ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, just pull your line in and just go, okay, this is happening in this experience, and this is what it is. Drink your coffee, you know, eat your ice cream, do what you know. But as soon as you start having to say, have a point of you know, like, this is this way, and they're doing, or, you know, you're not doing this, or you're not, you know, that's your biggest trigger of like, and how many, and I suppose the West, you know, like if you're looking on social media or whatever, attacking people, they're attacking themselves, but they can't see it in reflection because they're going off about this person not doing this and this is that. You have a way of being and a belief in life that it's played this way. It doesn't mean they have that belief. But that's you know, and if we're all one, that's us. So there's you know, huge judgment factors are in it at the moment. Like people have got no idea from a consciousness playing ground that we're looking at ourselves and we're getting pissed off with ourselves, and we're looking at everyone else and going, and yet not, you know, very few are going, oh, this reaction is because I have a judgment to a way of being, because I have an attachment to being human. I have an attachment to myself, because self too is an illusion. But I'm a realist that we have a reality we're playing in. Now if we're recognizing we're playing in a reality, be aware that we must be contributing to the field.
I read something that I think it was Vanessa and you and Gabrielle were having a conversation, and it was I'm actually nothing, and then it just hit at that right moment, and I was like, so I'm not these feelings, and I've used that so often, and they just drop away, and it's like, oh, thank God. It was, I mean, anyway.
Oh no, perfect.
It's been amazing.
Perfect scenario. I remember that I was sitting there watching Vanessa's wisdom going, yes.
Noticing someone else's life.
It's always easier looking at someone else's life. I have to look at my own occasionally, you know, and as you saw, that wasn't good the other night. So, you know, I'm as vulnerable as anybody. And thank you for the cream. It worked amazing. So, like, honestly, does energy affect us all? Yes. And look, as I could say to Vanessa the other day, this could be me. I'm feeling everybody's energy, and because I've used that as my story as much as it could be me having perimenopausal stuff, as it could be me, whatever I've created, and not, you know, sitting down too much and not walking, you know, whatever story I want to attach it to. In the end, it was like surrendering.
I was thinking it's got something to do with the Lion's Gate. I don't even know what the Lion's Gate is.
No, but you know, I went there too.
What about the moon?
I saw that.
No, the timing was too perfect. And look, honestly, I gave it that story as well. It was a good story. At the end of the day, it's almost not attaching yourself to the story. And look, honestly, I had a chiro booked in for Monday, but they were cancelling it because of the protocol. And I'm sitting there going, now seriously, because the pain was like I wanted to be sick, and it was intense. But anyway, I created that, and so I'm sitting there going, now seriously, yeah, I'm actually, I think, I'm hitting the Panadol, which is huge for me. Like, and I walked in there Monday, and he goes, "Hey Ben," I said, "Wow, I took 8 Panadol in a day, and that's like a whole year for me." And he's going, So, and even driving there, the thought is like, am I legally doing this? And I'm going, oh, this is what I need. This is how it feels. And I didn't get stopped or anything, but it's kind of those processes. But yeah, I definitely went down that field, and I had an adjustment. It definitely feels heaps better, but a lot's gone through. And if I went energetically, I could give you a really bang on story for that transition. Yeah. I think it's.
So can I just ask, and I'm curious about anyone's perspective on this, but that just loosening your attachment to the experience of being human, is it just being aware of it, and maybe even just saying like, oh, okay, I can see I'm attached to this or whatever?
I don't. It's not even giving it anything really. I think it's just yes, there's an awareness. We're having this experience. We're born into it. Whatever. This is me personally. Will go around. I just have got to a point where I suppose anything can turn up. Like, dude, anything can turn up, and it just is what it is. And if I react to it, I probably address it in the moment and going, oh wow, okay. But I find the more you have become very momently, and I see my vision of what I choose and be and do and stuff, but I don't even have an attachment to that. But I know at the end of the day, it's all going to be fantastic anyway, because it's here to be played, and it's a surreal space. The more you're in it, the more you know when you're not in it. And but I just think it's just moments. It's just moments. If you can just be in the moment, and if something triggers you, it triggers you. And don't, like a lot of people say, don't make anything out of nothing. And as I said to Vanessa, I could make 50 stories out of this. Like, seriously, it is what it is. And obviously it's doing what it's doing. And I'm playing the part of getting attached to it. Meanwhile, the cream, and even the scenario of simplicity, I put out there going, okay, I really need something. And then Vanessa messaged me going, how's your day? And I'm like, well, shit, you should check out my week. And she says, oh, and so she dropped off some cream, which is fantastic. And that cream though, and it could be placebo, it wouldn't matter. I asked for something, this came to the door. I put it on, and it was like, shit, the sharpness I was like, I used most of it within the night and the morning. And she gave me the information to buy some. Lady was within my 5Ks, but within 10 minutes of conversation of me ringing her and saying she had it on her doorstep, I put the money under her mat, picked it up off her doorstep. That's this. That's this. And that's trusting, not being scared, not controlling. Those moments. Anyway, give me your point of view, Cara.
I wasn't laughing at you, Carl. I was laughing at Ali.
Okay.
Yeah.
My point of view on what you just shared.
Oh, just on what we're chatting about. Do you know what we're chatting about?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it, because I've forgotten.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know if I have any words right now. I'm not sure. Yeah. No, I was just really enjoying the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's the place to be. I've got no words. That's the place to be. That's what I'm talking about. There is no words. There is no thoughts. There is no nothing. And then as the moment presents, it becomes something, because we are. That's us. It's just us. Vanessa.
couple of things that are coming up. So I realized that, you know, my anger with the tradies was related to my business stuff too. Like, I just felt like the tradies should be so grateful that they were still at work.
Yeah.
That they should be happy to wear a mask. So that was being triggered by my attachment to what was happening with our business that we were talking about before. But I think in answer to Gabrielle's question, for me, you know, like even in that moment where I got triggered and I did that to the tradies, and that was not something I would ever have done. Like, I would never.
Well, yeah, great experience.
Have done, a few years ago. And for me, I could see myself doing it. And there was
Nice.
that could just watch it and observe it and go, you know, like, it's almost like, why the hell are you doing this? But then at the same time, there's no judgment.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, and that's just a really different space. And in that space, it's okay that I did it.
Yes.
Myself up. And then I was able to move on and go, is that how I choose to play? And that's for me to go, no, actually, that's not how I want to play.
Nice. Yeah, very nice. I liked it. And just reflecting for the visitors, that's interesting. Reflecting for the people that may end up watching this, the tradies reflecting the business, and of course the core triggers definitely more self than in tradies in business, which you know. But I'm just reflecting that back for somebody who's watching that. Yeah. Cindy, have you got anything to add to that?
I'm all good. I'm good.
Good. And Gabrielle? I think if we
go.
No, you're right.
No, the only thing I was going to say is something you said before, is those small things that can show you misalignment.
Yeah.
Like I've been, I was actually thinking of even about that today. Anyway, and how grateful I am for when I see them.
Yeah. And I think I hate putting things into word and context, because I think it formulates into matter a bit more denser. But it's like, because there is really no misalignment. You know, we're all perfectly bang on right here, right now. Do you know what I mean? Just as soon as we think, we formulate, we break our fragments off to multitudes of experiences, and then we go and experience that, and then it'll give us a contrast, and, you know, like, we're absolutely none of that, but we get to experience all of it. And I think I'm trying to probably share an understanding of detaching from the attachment of self with an awareness that we get to experience self, and many formulas, many ways, and many fragments. So everybody's doing exactly what they're meant to be doing for whatever that experience is. And for our attachment to have a judgment of someone else doing it a different way, well, there comes our own formula of our attachment to ourself in play. How's that? I like the rhyme. Just saying. I think we'll finish up on that. I think if anyone, you're happy there?
Yeah.
Thanks for triggering the chat, Gabrielle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah, it is. It is. Very cool. Keep cool till after school.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Night, everyone.
You're welcome.
Good to see you all.
Bye.
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 Bye.